Coming up on Be Kind, Let's Rewind.
For today, we're reaching back in the 90s, guys, and we're going to be talking about our favorite amusement parks from back in the day.
Dude, that was the one that, like, I nearly flew out, and I was like...
they put the pirate ship in, someone puked, and shot out, and when it swung back, it hit a whole row of people right in the face.
No! It was this gigantic, godless contraption. After we got done, my friend literally puked himself nearly to death.
There was a sock that was all the way in the back of the dryer. Guys, do you know what happened after that?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music. Sorry, folks, park's closed. The moose out front should have told you.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and
I
Shadwick.
want to be everybody's dad at work.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for. Today, we're reaching back in the 90s, guys, and we're going to be talking about our favorite amusement parks from back in the day, roller coasters, haunted houses, all kinds of shiz. But before we get started, let's give a congratulations to our boy Shadwick. Just got a promotion at work.
That's me.
And man, with that promotion, I believe, what was that title going to be called?
Well, I don't know. Are you? Is it better to be a director or a director?
Director, absolutely.
Director.
Without it, yeah, director of what? What are you a director?
A director sounds like it's got more ass to it, I think.
It does, yeah.
Got a little more weight to it. Digital art director.
All right.
Digital
Congratulations.
Director. So you are dad.
Cheers.
I am dad. I'm just going to put I want to put a gif of Angelina Jolie from Mr. and Mrs. Smith where she goes,
Who's your daddy now?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just going to put that in my email signature.
That's going to be your tagline for your email signature. So anytime something good happens for us, man, we want to give some props.
I've had a lot of good things happen the past couple of weeks, but this past weekend I had something a little unnerving, I guess. I've gotten bad about like putting off laundry for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. Like, we're grown. I've got clothes now. Like, I don't have to do.
You don't have 3 shirts like I used to in my 20s.
But I guess it was Sunday evening. I was getting clothes out of the dryer, and there was a sock that was all the way in the back of the dryer.
Oh no!
And I had to get on my hands and knees and reach down in there. And
Like a step, bro.
Guys, do you know what happened after that?
Humanity.
When are they going to stop? When is it going to stop, man? So, well, anyway.
At least I don't have a glass coffee table.
Stay away from them, man. I mean, there are warning signs everywhere. But with that fun story, did you see the camera, by the way? All right, that'll take us over to...
Get out of the street, you fucking bum!
Dude,
Yeah, we
get out
missed
of the washer.
You cut out the
bum.
fucking bum part from the Uslan interview.
Yeah, we had to keep it clean.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Clean-
said the S
clean my
word,
dishes?
like it's a...
He said,
You ain't going to SHIT right for a month.
so this week for my
Oh,
booze of the
hell
week,
no. I ain't messing with your kinky ass.
I'm going America as fuck. I've got me some Black Rifle coffee with some Gentleman Jack in it because I got some editing to do.
All right. So
After this,
So which Black Rifle are you drinking?
the Smooth Silencer. That's one of my go-tos.
So
What is that the dark? Is that the
That's
dark
the light one.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, I don't fuck with that light stuff anymore. I have some Black Rifle. I think it's like Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I like all of them.
It smells like either a skunk or a doobie, or a little bit of both.
Yeah,
the dark ones always do, man. They always have that little funk to them. You know what I mean?
This one just smells like America. Black Rifle coffee and Tennessee whiskey.
America, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Sponsor.
Shadwick, what do you got there, brother?
Well, since we are going to be talking about our local amusement park, I'm going to go with how all of the dad's breath smells as they're lugging their kids around.
They do that.
It's like, it's Dad's weekend. We're going to Lake Winnipesaukee.
In all honesty,
honey, I'll be in the car.
In all honesty, how the hell are you going to make it without a little bit of Paps in your veins?
Dude, I don't want to live in a life without the Paps in my veins. You know what I'm saying?
Me neither, dude.
No. Not what I signed up for. So, Leaf, what do you got there, brother?
Brother, let me tell y'all, it is my wife's birthday.
Happy birthday, Rach.
So, thank you. So,
this coming weekend?
This coming weekend, yes. And
so
for those of you,
you're already celebrating then.
Well, thank you. You literally took the words right out of my mouth. So for those of you married gentlemen, it is not a birthday rather than a birthday week.
Yeah.
And so I'm pounding a little bit of dough ball, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, birthday cake whiskey. All of my wife who likes the sweetness. And right here. So happy birthday to her.
Dude. Cheers, Rach. Hope you have a good one.
We just drove 2,460 miles just for a little Roy Wally entertainment. The Moose says you're closed. I say you're open.
So this week, I think it was Shadwick's idea. He was like, yep, what if we talked about amusement parks? And then that just kind of opened up the floodgates of how many different things, from romance to giant carp to God knows what else, that we experienced as kids at these parks, because this was one of the, unlike today's generation, we were just kind of let loose, bro. So they would take you sometimes to the park and you would go with a friend's mom or whatever, and they would sit at the picnic basket table, and then you would just run amok. And you would just go do whatever. So you're on your own, essentially. So, we're
they don't do that anymore, do they? Like,
I don't know, man.
Would you do? Let me ask you this: If we had younger children, right? Like, excluding Shadwick's older spawn, like, would you allow your child to run amok in a local amusement park?
At what age?
I don't know. Like, okay, let me guess what the ages of the people or the kids that I see running amok there, or the last time that I went. So I don't know,
10 to 14.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 to 10 years old.
No, I would
not at 8.
No,
12 probably.
12. Yeah, I'd say 12 is the
17.
Yeah, that's a cutoff.
17. You ready?
That's what Chef said.
Yeah, so that's the cutoff. Okay. I was wondering, because I'm just like, man.
So the actual amusement park here is called Lake Winnipesaukee, which
not to be confused with the nice place in Massachusetts that Richard Travis went to, and What About Bob?
Yeah, not that place. No,
it's not Lake Winnipesaukee.
Yeah, no,
this
place,
Lake Winnipesaukee.
It was an asshole, but it was our asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was.
Well, we haven't. Hold on. Don't get ahead of yourself. We're not talking about the smell yet.
Yeah, yeah, that's my fault. Leaf, do you have some lovely, boring ass facts about Lake Winnipesaukee, located in, I believe, is it in Tennessee?
No,
or is it Georgia?
That's Rossville, Georgia.
Okay.
It is barely over the line in Georgia. But before that, I do want to quickly talk about the origin of amusement parks, because why not, right? Because it's gonna be fun to go over the historical context, because like a lot of people don't know that, right?
It's like Fatty McGee taking the stairs. They're fun.
The origins of amusement parks date back to medieval times. No, not the restaurant.
Wow.
Insert role models clip here.
Good morrow, sir.
Let us gingerly touch our tips.
Yeah.
In Europe, during the 1500s and beyond, there were fairs and pleasure gardens, whatever that means,
I'll tell you all fair.
with music, games, and food stalls, and even shows. From there, we can jump to the 19th and 20th century when the World's Fair showcased technological advancements, cultural exhibits, and even entertainment, as well as amusement rides for the children. And finally, we come to the modern age of theme parks we have today, distinguished by unhealthy food stalls, dangerous games and rides for children, solely designed to drain parents of their hard-earned money, and, of course, thrill rides designed also to mimic death itself.
Yep.
And
let's not forget the scam games that they have.
Oh,
pitch a penny onto a dish or something like that.
Just name
it's
it,
like,
man.
It's like sprayed with Pam.
And the basketball game is like the basketball hoop is so tiny, or the ball's like larger.
Yeah,
and like all that stuff, man. But you could work if you were there with your girl, man. You got to try to win one.
Yep, you're throwing your arm out.
Yeah. I'm like, what did that radar gun say? And she's like, 42. And I'm like, God damn it.
And throw rides designed to created to send your heart straight into your ass from the speed and height of the falls. Ooh-wee. And none so better exemplify that than Be Kind, Let's Rewind. For those of you who don't know, we all grew up in and around the same area. And there is a local theme park, amusement park. I'm actually curious to see and hear a lot of everyone else's local theme parks. If you want to mention that in the comments, because I don't know, like, I'm not familiar with a lot of local theme parks. We have our own here in and around Chattanooga, Tennessee, right over the border, called Lake Winnipesaukee.
What I wanted to say is that's actually going to lead me to shit stuck in my head this week, but just stick with me on this. All right.
Oh, red snapper. Very tasty.
So because of that, I actually had just ordered Fright Rags had UHF pins on there. So I bought like 3 of them. I'm going to give one away on the pod, guys. So I've got a UHF pin collection. I believe it's already sold out. Comment of everybody that comments in for YouTube for this. If you're listening on audio, comment on Spotify, on Apple Music, and then I'll get your information, man. I'll send you your free pins that are up on your screen now from UHF. So,
and you better hurry up with the comments because they're really running wild these days.
Yeah.
Dude, bro, UHF was my jam when we were kids, dude.
Love that.
Is God,
Red Snapper, very tasty.
I was thinking of that guy from Booty Call.
Yeah,
like he was the waiter in the restaurant, and he's like,
"Oh yeah."
Jamie Foxx is mad because there wasn't enough shrimp in his shrimp fried rice. And the guy's like,
"Oh, there is one shrimp there and another shrimp here."
Yeah, dude, it's outrageous. Love that shit. So before this, like you said, the one that's in town is Lake Winnipesaukee.
That's our local theme park.
And we'll start to jump into this, man. But so when was Lake Winnipesaukee established, Leaf? That was in the early 20s, right?
It was in the,
really?
Lake, all commonly known here for the locals as Lake Winnie. Because we don't like Native American
can't
words.
Spell.
Yeah. We don't like all of that.
That's
Native
what I like
American.
about the South.
We don't like all that Native American wampum around here. So it was it's an amusement park located in Rossville, Georgia, on the south side of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Whoop Whoop, Carl, and Minette Dixon opened the park to over 5,000 guests on June the 1st, 1925.
Damn, so we're about up to 100 years next year, right?
100 years next year. Lake Winnie will be celebrating its centennial celebration.
They've never changed any rides either.
Not a damn thing to change.
I wonder, like in 1925, Was that part? Was it located between scum and shit like it is now?
I bet it was moved.
I bet it was undeveloped land at that point because there was a lake there. You see, and that lake was named after Indian things because that's what we did back in the day. And you know,
why didn't they call it Savage Springs?
Because Teddy Roosevelt didn't get a say in it. They named it. They named it after the word Winnepesaukah, which means bountiful waters for the uninitiated, or beautiful lake of the highlands is actually the loose translation.
And those waters are bountiful because
poisonous but bountiful.
They house some mutant carp fish.
Yeah. I kind of want to go to Lake Winnie this weekend and just start taking video and pictures of all this shit to splice it in.
Oh God, dude!
I looked at how much tickets were, and it was $50 fucking to get in the gate.
What? No way, dude!
No.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
How much is it? How much is it to get back out?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm just gonna sneak in when nobody's there and just do it myself. They don't have cameras, right? I mean,
no. Nobody has cameras.
Yeah. If you don't hear from me, it's because one of those big fucking carp ate me. But if I can't, I'll dig some shit up on YouTube because I'm sure people have videos of these carp. They are massive, and they've been there since I probably the earliest I went there. I was like 6. So you're talking 86, 87, 88. And those things were still massive back then. You'd throw your part of your hot dog bun in there, and they would just be like a swarm of gross in this muddy water.
There was always like a little kid like standing on the bench, like throwing popcorn out there. Yep. And it looks like a fucking shark coming up.
I know.
It really does. It's almost like the Simpsons, like Homer Simpson's 3-eyed fish from the nuclear power plant episode.
Except these are 3-dicked fish.
Yeah.
The park was originally featured the largest swimming pool in the southeastern United States.
Yeah.
So that was
something we missed out on.
We did, until the carp ate the patrons.
People just started missing limbs from the carp, but they turned the swimming pool into like some kind of, I want to say it was like either a love tunnel or a haunted house ride or something, because like I remember talking to my mom and her friends, and they were like, yeah, you used to be able to go to like Winnepesaukah. It's got a water park and shit now. They built that, after the 2000s, but like they said, I guess, and we're going to go into a lot of fucking rumor into this shit this episode. So this entire episode is
allegedly that's ignorant.
So like they said that there was like kids that would drown and shit there because of the swimming pool, and that just became to be too much of a liability.
I heard a rumor that Chris, that's where you were conceived.
I was the mistake by the lake. Spoiler alert.
So before the mutant carp became the dominant species on the planet, the swimming pool, the largest swimming pool in the southeastern United States, debuted in 1926, and of course, like you said, was later removed under mysterious circumstances. Its boat shoot attraction, designed by Carl Dixon, opened in 1927 and is the oldest mill chute water ride of its kind, still operating in the United States to this very day. As of this recording, it is the oldest.
On the they call it the boat chute for a reason. Shadwick can probably lend a little more to that than we could, but for those that have not been in it, all it is, it's pretty fucking dumb. It's this long tunnel that you're in this boat. Nothing really happens till you get to the end of this long tunnel. Then it does a little click, 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 click up. You drop down. This is all in, you're in a boat. So it does the big splash at the bottom. So you get wet and tee-hee. But there's not like large groups that can be on these things, right? Wasn't it like 6 deep or something? So a lot of times you'd be by yourself with your girl. And not me. I would be by myself with Leaf.
I think other places have like similar things, like the Tunnel of Love, and yeah, like that.
But this one was not labeled as that. It was like, ooh, the scary boat chute, and it's just a dark tunnel.
Yeah, it looks more like you're floating into to like a lumber yard or something. Like you just expect something to be crawling around in there, something to be splashing around in the water.
So
you're not wrong.
When I brought this up to some people at work, the first thing like a couple of them said were like, yeah, like, do you remember like, did you ever know anyone that had like snakes drop down on them? And I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that urban legend. Like that it was like these snakes would drop from the top of the boat chute on you and you'd be like terrified of that. And then like,
in my opinion, there was a snake, but it didn't come from on top.
It had some venom. So
yeah.
I went in,
it was poisonous.
I think I was in like 6th grade or something. I went in with like my girlfriend one time and I remember thinking like, I'm going to hold her hand in this thing. It's going to happen. And then I did not. Then I just, then we got wet.
I also in 6th grade went in there with my girlfriend and I remember thinking, man, this water really smells like fish.
It was not
because of all the carp.
Because of carp, yeah. It was the carp. It was the carp.
Yeah. It just goes to show you that how boring this ride was. That people had to make up horrific stories and legends so that they could occupy a reason to actually go and ride this boring ass.
It was
ride.
definitely like the hookup spot. Like people when you're in high school and stuff. I remember people all the time. The tunnel. You go in there. So I wonder, Shadwick, did you have it timed? Were you like, all right, man, like I've got X amount of minutes to round the bases and get home before we go up this thing?
Yeah, you're on TikTok.
TikTok. No, man, I can only remember like one time I kissed a girl. I was like, I actually went with a group of people, and for years I liked this one girl, and it wasn't playing out. And her cousin was there, and that ended up happening.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So there were hurt feelings and wet crotches from the splash.
From
the end of the ride.
And the smell from the carp.
Yes. Yes. And the lake.
I don't know why why that smell follows you home. So just thick.
So the boat chute, apparently the oldest one, after we just got done, we're just gonna end up trashing this whole like park this entire time. Look, man, we had fun when we were there, but it is what it is, right?
It was amazing when you were young. That's the thing, though. I think that like it's hard to like. Okay, so we're looking at it from a retrospect, right? Like when we were there, it was exciting because you guys are talking about, like kissing a girl. In a lot of cases, it was like our first kiss for a lot. I'm sure a lot of young men and ladies. Like that's the first time. Like your parents dropped you off because they don't love you or care about you. You're 12, so you're out there alone. Like you're meeting people. And I remember the last time that I went, I was probably in my mid-20s. And dude, it was just this cesspool of underage like children just swarming around, and I was like, "Get me out of here, dude!" But I already had forgotten what it was like to be that age and be,
like
alone.
I haven't been 12 years or so. Like I've got a son that's 19, so I'm sure I took him a couple of times, and I don't know if it's still this way because I know there's been a lot of like. Bans on smoking, but it always it smelled like smoke, dirty lake water, funnel cake.
Some kid,
and some kid shit his pants, I'm sure.
Yeah, again, like he said, when you're a kid and you get to just go run amok by yourself, it was the shit. But I think the last time I went, I probably was like 18 or 19, and I also had that realization where I like kind of looked around and I was like, yeah, I don't belong here anymore. Like you kind of have the realization like, yeah, this is not for me.
Yeah. For the same reason that we don't stay in motels anymore.
Yeah. You look around after you get your last thing of ice from Crackhead Eddie and you're like, you know what? We're going to go to Hose from now on. So,
you know what? I think I'm not going to get fleas anymore.
You know what? I'm not going to do hamster style anymore.
Or do hamster style. Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's the same way you feel about like roller rinks. I know I felt the same way about that, man. Like, or bowling alleys. Like for the first, like later on, I did meet my a girl who would eventually become my wife, and she was interested in bowling. We went, past a certain time of day, like you're safe from the throngs of unattended children. right? But like during the early hours, if you're at a roller rink or the bowling alley, dude, it's just infested with like, extremely underage young mutants that want to have their time in the sun like we did, but we're too old to appreciate that.
I think like what I do is like I look back too, and I remember what frustrates me is I remember how stupid I was back then. And so, like, it just reminds me of some self-loathing about what an idiot I was back then when I see these kids, like, run around. I'm like,
oh, man, you hear them trying to be funny, man, and you're just getting madder and madder and madder. And here's what's messed up. I don't have, like, when I was young, I thought the old people don't understand me. It's like, no. They understand you perfectly. Yeah. They just hate you because they see the worst parts of themselves in you.
Yeah, they
That's
remember
really
that.
what it is. And no one ever says that.
I know, dude. I look at them now. I'm like, God damn! Did I used to be like that?
Yes,
I was.
Yeah. See, I don't have any doubt. I remember when I used to be like that. I remember when I used to show my ass in public just because I wanted attention or just do anything for any kind of attention. I'm like, God, Chris, you suck.
Dude, we went over the weekend. We went to the store and I was walking by. It was like a mom and her young son, like 5 years old probably. Mm-hmm. Like everything's quiet, and then he just got like super fucking excited about something he saw and started screaming. Like right as I was passing, I was like, I turned around and I go, Jesus Christ, kid, you scared the shit out of me. The mom looked at me. I was like,
that kid is back on the escalator again.
Or you should have been standing there.
Should have been standing there, dude. Yeah.
One of the parents, I don't care which one, but one parent should teach that kid to fear that escalator.
So we had the boat shoot, which we covered. The other one that I remember that was like the old stalwart was the chairlift that would take you from one end of the park to the other because you shouldn't walk the fucking, 200 feet that it was there. But it was over the lake. So it was kind of cool. You'd go you couldn't get off on the other end. It would just circle and bring you back. Right. But I remember there were some brave motherfuckers that when it hit that carousel in the end, there was like a fence. I saw a dude jump out there because like that end was over near the boat chute. So they would jump out when it goes in a circle to come back. And it was still probably like an 8-foot fall. And these dudes were just crazy and they would do it. And I'd be like, damn.
Bro,
I guess it was kind of toward the end of the time that we would have been going there. They put the pirate ship in.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, it's named appropriately. It's a big ass pirate ship.
Yep.
And it's on a pendulum. And
it's just a swing.
A swing pendulum that just goes up.
Flying
Dutchman. Does it go all the way over? Or is it just
I think it did go all the way over, and if not, then it just stopped at the very top. But like upside down, all that shit.
All right, so obviously there's two ends of it. The people on the right, all the seats are facing the left. The ones on the left, the seats are all facing the right, and you're swinging back and forth. I was waiting in line to get on that, and I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it myself. But as that thing went up and came to its peak, someone puked and shot out over, right?
Yeah.
And when it swung back, it hit a whole row of people right in the face.
No,
I mean, splat.
There's a Family Guy clip that has that exact same thing happen, and I'll try to find that and put it in here.
Don't feel so good. Ew. Ew.
But
physics is a son of a bitch. It's awful, dude.
I remember that one. That one was like a that one was there like towards the end, like you said. That was kind of a new ride, and then the coup de grace was the freaking
the cannonball.
The cannonball.
The cannonball.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Talk about something that was built in 1925. I mean, it had to be right. This is a real wooden roller coaster, and by wooden I mean it's held up by splinters and cracked white paint
and prayers.
Dude, I think it was like prayers. I think in my notes it was 1967 that it was built. Now I know that they've done renovations on it, or I assume they've done renovations. Again, this is all a shooting from the fucking hip. Like, don't sue us. We don't have any money. Like the cannonball was always like that. Actually, was the first roller coaster I ever rode. So probably a lot for a lot of people in this area. And it's, it's good for what it is. A little quick little couple drops, a little spin skadoodle, and then you're done. And then
you got one little tower or one decent sized tower.
Yeah.
And about a little left, right, down again. And then it goes back to where like the loading dock or loading station, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a covered area, but the track is like dipped and it comes up and then immediately flattens out to that covered area. So a lot of people will have their hands up, doing the roller coaster thing, and you're not supposed to because it will fucking take your hand off.
Yeah, and
if you're one of those 6'4" guys with 8 foot wingspan.
Look, man, we ended up we basically covered most of the rides I want to cover. There's a choo-choo that goes around the track, or used to go around the park. All right, what's
but Daddy, I want a choo-choo.
Do either of y'all? I cannot let this pass without y'all remembering that. See if either of y'all remember this. Do either of y'all remember a ride that I've never found anywhere else in the world or in any other theme park? It was called the Black Hole.
Yeah,
dude. Do either of y'all remember that?
Yeah,
is that the centrifuge one?
Yeah, you got the
which is
force
perfect,
throwing you against the wall.
That is going to lead me into what's the juicy part of this podcast under the allegedly mark. People that got hurt or urban legends, because we have I did not confirm any of this shit. So just full disclosure, this is shit we heard as kids or shit I found like on a Reddit thread or whatever. But it's all shit I remember hearing as a kid. The one from that one was because it would start spinning right and the floor would drop out. Right?
Let me exactly. So for those of you who don't know, it was this gigantic godless contraption that was just a gigantic circle. It was like a spherical. It was like a sphere, like a tube, and you walked up into the center, and you stood against the wall, and there was no guardrails, there was no anything. It was just a big smooth metal cylinder on the inside, and so you would sort of stand against the wall, right? And as it would spin faster and faster and faster, the centrifugal force would push you against the wall, and at that point in time, the floor would drop out beneath you, and you just be spinning, stuck against the wall. And of course, the fun part is we found crazy ways as children to move, and people would be sliding sideways as this thing would spin, right? And it would be crazy. I remember when I went, my friend, after we got done, my friend literally puked himself nearly to death, like in the yard, like right in front of the ride, because he tried to get himself sideways, and it was just horrific because there was no guard.
You're just there, right? So
it was cylinder.
There's also a Cleveland show clip for that, Chris. So future Chris, there you go.
I can't see. You guys all got worried looks on your faces too.
Yeah, those pesky, incorrigible teenagers trying to do all that sideways nonsense was reason my parents wouldn't let me ride that when I was a kid. It was probably the very last time I went as a kid. They had actually added pads to the wall, and it wasn't like a seat belt, but there were handles.
Yeah, so, that's the last I remember. I remember that one.
Yeah,
I don't know if that became the Genie or what it's called now or whatever, but that's the new one.
That's actually a really important addition, Shadwick, because there was none of that. And in fact, every single version that I've seen of this horrible contraption has those guardrails, and it has pads and all that. This had nothing. It was a smooth metal cylinder.
I remember,
right? It was nothing. You could run around it until the force of it spinning slammed you against the thing, and people did that.
I remember looking at that thing when I was a kid, like a homeless person looking at a ham sandwich. I wanted it so bad. My parents are like, "No, you have to starve."
It was so fun, bro. I'm so sorry.
So in school, I never rode it, and I'll tell you why I never rode it. I was in 4th grade, and I remember going to the park with some kid. It was some school trip or whatever. Probably was an actual school trip. Sometimes we'd go there, And this kid was like, I was looking at that thing and I was kind of like, oh, I've never ridden that before. And he's like, oh, don't ride that, man. My friend rode that. And the floor came back up and his foot was below it and it cut his foot off. And like they had to like get him out of here. Now he doesn't like have a foot, and I didn't see him anymore. And I'm like, holy shit! Like,
it's like he's selling you, and then like he just turns into Michelle Pfeiffer. It's like
he's dead now.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was like. People were like, "Dude, you know why that ride got removed? Right? Why it got canceled? Some kid lost his foot." I heard the same exact thing, dude.
So the one that I heard about, I actually heard from my parents. And I want to say that this one probably actually happened.
Allegedly, that's ignorant.
In the mid to late 70s. You guys remember the swings?
Yep.
So it was kind of the same thing. It just like spun around in a circle.
It's just these swings hanging down, and you're just in a swing.
Yep. These like those thinly braided like metal chains coming down. Yeah. Apparently someone got, one of those swings broke or whatever and threw someone either onto the concrete or asphalt or into the lake, and the cart got him. Either one would be terrible.
Either way, he's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
The other one that I heard was another one I heard was the Shadwick kind of alluded to it. The cannonball where it comes back in and there's like a low hanging, like before they changed it, rumor goes some dude was sitting up or something, and then it just his head got taken off. So that was like when I was a kid, a reason I didn't ride the cannonball till later on.
His head fell off.
Pretty bird.
Dude, you always hear this.
Heads are falling off.
Pretty bird. Pretty bird.
Yeah.
Pretty bird.
It's got tape around its neck.
And the other, like, I remember another one too, was like the pirate ship. This was like when we were like 19 or 20. I remember hearing, oh man, like, did you hear like the went upside down? This dude just fell out, like landed on his head and like blood everywhere. Yeah. So there was these things were always with quite a bit of folklore to them and urban legends. The carp eating people was a big one. The only other one, and I saw this one. This wasn't falling out of the chair. I saw people escape out of the chairlift because you could actually save walking across the park. Like if you wanted to go across the park, you get on the chairlift and then jump out on this one spot. But I did hear of people falling in the lake from the chairlift as it went over. Like you could easily get out of it if you wanted to.
Oh,
you could have.
They had like paddle boats there too.
Yeah, dude, they had paddle boats, and then the old jalopy cars. Do you remember those that you could ride?
They're like on a track.
On a track, yeah.
God, I just had a freaking
you remember
memory unlocked. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so you remember like as you're first walking in, the lake is over like to your right, and they've got all those little carnival games.
Yeah,
they had the haunted house. Do you remember that one?
Yeah,
yes.
So, and it's another one where I think it's just two people to a cart, and it was on a track also. You go in and it's got like the saloon doors, the front of the car and you go in and then it's just got all these like crazy like jump scares basically.
I think that was where the pool was, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong on that, but I think that's what came after the pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the end of that story is Shadwick's dick was in constant jeopardy from his dates in the haunted house.
She's like, Shadwick, I'm scared.
Don't be scared. I guarantee something's going to pop out at you, but don't scream. Or scream. I don't care.
Scream. That's fine too. Yeah. So we'll wrap up good old Lake Wiener, and we'll move down 75.
Wiener.
Last thing I will say about Lake Winnie is, when you walk into a place and it's just there's like all jokes aside, as far as like carp and whatever, there's a thick feeling like I feel like if a ghost hunting group went in Lake Winnepesaukah, they would find an ass load of shit. Like there is a vibe there when you walk in. There just is. I don't know what it is, but it's thick air.
There's a funk. I'm interested to find out if anybody else has a local, not obviously in our area, but a local amusement park that has that creepy vibe to it.
Yeah,
because this place, you're
like
right.
Zebo the Clown from Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I'll tell you one thing that's always synonymous with that place for me is like 80s Metallica.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the music playing all the time. Yeah, man.
So, there's always like music playing. Dude. And I would say 93% of the people that work there are like teenagers. So in the 80s, like they were just rocking whatever.
Dude, it's all it's what Joe Dirt was doing when he met
there was
what's her name?
There was I think it was called the Himalayan. It was another getting a cart, and it went in a circle basically, and it had some like ups and downs.
Yeah.
But I think they always, I want to say the song was Hit the Lights.
Oh shit, I know what you're talking about. It was like but it would go faster on certain things. Yes. And like, dude.
It was like music oriented. Yeah.
Dude, I remember that.
Raccoon Mountain, the Alpine Slide.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, I'll
explain to those uninitiated what the Alpine Slide is.
Yeah. The Alpine Slide basically is a drainage ditch that comes. It's a concrete drainage ditch.
It's someone said, "Hey, I got an idea. We'll put a little sled on it. You push it forward, you go faster. Pull it back, and it stops."
Yeah. We're going. Here, sit on this here skateboard with a joystick on it. This joystick, it's going to act like a brake, but it ain't really a brake.
And it just send you. You had free fucking like rug rat or a road rash every time you're on those.
So my aunt actually fell off that thing and got fucking obliterated.
Oh, I bet, man.
Oh, dude. That's horrific. That's worse than half the stories we told this tonight.
Dude, there's a documentary called Class Action Park. I think it was on Max, and it's basically about a park similar like this up in New Jersey, and it had like all these like people that died and shit because the rides were, the dude was just a crazy mad scientist, so he would get a blueprint for a ride, and then he would like, oh, we'll put a loop here or whatever, and then he would pay kids $100 to try it out. Like that worked for him. Like it was pretty fucked up, but one of the kids died falling off an Alpine slide thing, like shot off, like, and then just I guess was like brain dead by the time they got there. It's like fucked up, but so the Alpine slides, fucking don't do them. Like, why do they exist?
I'm looking right now. Like you can Google it, and you're gonna see all these pictures of people riding down this concrete ditch with these big these big fucking smiles on their face. Like, it's not showing anybody at the end of it though, covered in blood.
Dude, I remember you would go down, and I remember trying to just gas it, right? Because they would have those big the ramps would go up on the big turns, so you could really lean into them. And then sooner or later, you tested fate too much, and it would turn over on you, and it would just be like.
I rode that several times, and I guess I was just too big of a puss to really push the envelope. But
I just got my elbows and knees one time. I had one of my friends that came down, and he was just fucked, like his back and shit. His shirt came up.
Those kids.
So, all right, man, let's hop in our cars. Let's go down 75. Let's go to Six Flags over Georgia. Leaf, do you have any boring-ass facts on Six Flags over Georgia?
Man, you know I got you, dude. This is tier 2. So we got our local amusement parks, right? Everybody has those, the ones that are I guess you could throw in your own comedy fairs, right? There's always the ones in the grocery store parking lots. Do y'all remember those? Like we could throw those in with Lake Winnie. Yeah, I'm not even gonna mention those. At Hamilton Place, the park, the weird little fairs, like those are all sort of tier 1, right?
Yeah,
or tier 3.
The fucking carnies come to town and build it up in the parking lot, and then they're there for like 3 or 4 days, and they leave, and you find like pieces of of the machines that they've like safety pins. Like,
yeah.
And one pin out, fucking bickety bam.
Yeah, dude, it's one of those when you're like reading in the newspaper or like you're reading online and it's like it's like accident at Carnival, and then you like pull up the picture and it's one of those and you're like, oh well, yeah. Like, you don't even read the article, you just move on.
Bob stole a schematic of the station, some foolish carpenter.
Yes. So for those of you uninitiated, that is sort of the vibe Lake Winnie gives off, is the gypsy carnivals that comes down. But we have a second tier, right? Second tier would be something like Six Flags over Georgia, perhaps Dollywood, something of that nature. But as Chris said, Six Flags is our next target. Originally, the company known as Six Flags Corporation and later Six Flags Incorporated was founded in the 1960s. It derives its name from its first property, Six Flags over Texas. Six Flags owns the most theme parks and water parks combined of any amusement park company and has the 7th highest attendance in the world. The company operates 42 properties throughout North America, including theme parks, amusement parks, water parks, and family entertainment centers. The name Six Flags originally refers to the flags of the 6 different nations that have governed Texas: Spain, France, Mexico, Republic of Texas, and the United States. So for those of you who don't know, yes, that is where the name Six Flags. Oh, and let's never forget the Confederate States of America. Don't want to forget that.
No, you don't want to forget that, because the way I hear it, more flags, more fun.
Six Flags parks are still divided into different themed sections to this very day, although many of the original areas from the first 3 parks have been, of course, replaced. I believe they have a deal with Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers, if I'm not mistaken. So, Disney has their thing, but Six Flags is sort of like the competitor, if you will. Not the same, but, in the same sort of vein.
It was, it was a big deal to go to Six Flags. Like, that was like because it was about an hour and a half drive. Like, it was an all-day thing, so you'd get up early in the morning, you're going to Six Flags, you may even hit up a Shoney's buffet on the way.
Oh,
bro. Lord. Shoney Bear, dude.
Dude, Shoney's breakfast buffet?
Yeah, dude. Forget about it.
I don't know if I need to hit that before I go to the amusement park, though.
All right, that does it.
But you would get down there and it was all freaking day, right? So it's like
all day.
I know me and Leaf went there many a times, and one of the benefits for me of Leaf being in a wheelchair is we got to skip to the front of the line. So that's nice. But we would go down.
What was that comedian? Was it not Lopez? Was it Mencia was talking about? He was at an amusement park and there was a handicapped guy that kept going and like cutting line in front of everybody, and he called him out for it.
Oh yeah,
and they kind of argued or whatever, and the guy's like, "Actually, you're the only one that's like treated me like a person today. So for the rest of the day, you're with me."
Who did he steal that joke from?
Yeah, probably.
Anybody got him.
Anybody at the store, I'm sure.
Dude, I can tell you from experience, like, he's not far off, dude. Like, because I wasn't one of the handies that can't ride rides. Like, I had to transfer with much like agony and chagrin, but however I was able to do it into these rides, dude. Like, me and my boys, Chris, some of the random people that I went with, never any females, because
we're sorry.
I wasn't one. I don't look. Do I look like Shadwick? No.
So, how do you do on those rides like Superman and Batman, where like your legs kind of dangle, or just
dude, they freaking flop and dangle around, dude, like scary movie.
Watch where you're swinging the dead leg.
Literally. Yeah, literally.
You ever seen the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man? Like, that's what it is.
That's what my legs look like on those rods.
I've seen Julie dance.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Dude, it's amazing, dude. Like, honestly, because like they let you get in front of the line, in front of everyone. And so it's actually the greatest thing. And although I got lots of bruises transferring, from the wheelchair to these rides, dude, it was so fun. I actually felt like a superhero because they would let you and like 2 or 3 people come with you.
Yeah, it would be 3, right? So like one would sit next to Leaf, and then you get 2 more behind you in that car.
So do they have someone that works there that helps you?
No, they will help you. The ride attendants evidently are, and I use this word extremely loosely, trained to assist you. But basically, I was just like, get the fuck out of my way, dude.
Like,
they'd be like,
I lost another one down the tracks.
They did.
Leaf's like,
I can do it myself.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was like a scary movie. Exactly.
Yeah.
I can tell you one time, though. On one of the rides there, I nearly flew out of it, and it's rough for me to like explain exactly like how it happened. But we went down a dip, and I like slipped out like on one of the dips.
Jesus Christ!
I will never forget that as long as I live. And when I try to explain that to one of my friends that I was with, like nobody believes me, right? But I was like, dude, did you not see me? He was like, I wasn't looking at you because you're right next to me. But I was like, dude, my ass came out of the seat, like up while one of the drops.
Nope.
It wasn't the Cannonball. What was the Cannonball-esque ride? That Six Flags
was it the Mind Bender?
I remember. It was the Hurricane.
Okay,
Y'all remember the Hurricane?
Yeah,
I remember
it was a wooden.
Georgia Cyclone.
That's it. Yeah,
that's
Georgia
it.
Cyclone.
The Georgia Cyclone. I was not the Hurricane, the Cyclone. That's the ride that it was because it was wooden like the Cannonball, but better, right? Yeah, and bigger. And that was the ride because I remember it being like that wasn't one of the ones that was the scariest because there was others that went upside down and this one didn't. It had the dips like the Cannonball. And dude, that was the one that like I nearly flew out. And I was like,
that's fucking wild.
I'll tell you the one I remember the most because I think it fucked me up for life, honestly. And I talked to several other people just mentioning the name of this. They're all like, oh God, yeah, I know. Like,
your neck.
Yeah, the Ninja.
Yeah, dude.
That was late 90s, I guess.
They took it out.
Yeah, they had to. I mean, we were all going. We were all going.
It was one of those that like had the
wheelchairs.
2 pads that came over right here, and your head would just play like ping pong the entire time.
It would just jerk your neck. And the thing about the Ninja to me, and maybe Chava can explain this in better detail, but like it wasn't the fact there was so many drops, but like Chris said, you were kind of thrown like left and right. Your spine and neck were like twisted as you would hit the sides.
Spinal.
But even if there was like a straight area on the track, it just wasn't smooth. The whole thing was like just jerking back and forth the whole time.
Yeah, it sucked, dude.
Yeah, I rode it one time and I was like, our old buddy Willie, never again.
Yeah, dude,
it was not good.
That one was, but we only rode that one a couple times because of that. Like, because I remember that was bad. But the Mind Bender was like one of our favorites, right? Like because it had the loop. It had the loop diddy loop.
I vaguely remember that one. I remember the Viper. It was just a straight track with one loop. But it would like take off like
0 to 60 or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that one was great.
I had a friend, I don't remember who it was, but I had a friend, like, he was in there and then was talking to me. Like, so he turns his head to the left while he was talking, and then it went off, and he's like, his neck was fucked up. He probably died.
He's dead now.
He's dead now.
Funny like story for me on this. The Mind Bender was the first roller coaster I ever rode.
Wow.
It wasn't anything. Yep. And I can tell you, one of my best friends, Trey, he actually chickened out. And his dad was like, let's go, boys. Let's get on this ride. Like, are you coming? Like, you're finally tall enough. You're old enough to go. And he chickened out. And I remember as clear as day, man, I got on that monstrous thing. And when the shoulder pads came down.
This was like when you were walking, man, too,
yeah,
right? Like
this is when I could walk.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a little kid. I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I remember when they locked you in. I was like, I changed my mind. I literally told him, I was like, I don't think I want to do this. And he looked at me like, this is my friend's dad. Was like, too late now, boy. And I was like, no. And this is one with loop-de-loops and everything. Dude, I can't believe I didn't shit myself. It was insane.
In that same vein, you guys remember like going up on a high dive at like a public pool? Everybody's like having fun. Everybody's jumping. You know, you want to be like the bigger kids.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You stand in line. You crawl up that ladder. You walk out there and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's when you get to the very front. We had several friends that would come to the front of the line, and then with Leaf, I'll tell you it was good because you get there pretty quick, so you didn't have a lot of time to think about it. But so you know how long those amusement park rides are, like the lines, like it's basically where you spend 80% of your time in the park. So you're talking it up, you're shooting the shit, you're trying to divert your anxious energy. And then when you get up there, I had several people when we got up there and they were like, all right, it's time to go. And they're like, I'm not doing it. And then we just like walk off and leave. And I'm like, yep. And they had an exit there that you could certainly do that because it happens so much, but
just for the chickens because it was so common.
So the Batman,
it had the door had a woman in a dress on it.
It did. The Batman came out probably I think in 97, 96, because this was like when we were starting to wrap up our amusement park careers. Yeah. And go about other things in life, like hating it. So I remember the Batman release, and that was the one like we talked about earlier where your legs are dangling. And I found a story in a newspaper on this. Didn't check to see if it was a credible source, but I don't care.
Allegedly,
so somebody
that's ignorant.
Allegedly. So somebody was down in a place that they weren't supposed to be because their hat fell off when they were on the Batman. They had little fenced off areas. He went in there to get his hat, and somebody's foot kicked his fucking head off.
That is 100% real.
Is it?
Yep.
Wow.
Somebody literally freaking field goal punted somebody's head off.
Somebody Ray
Batman.
Finkled his head.
Somebody Ray Finkled. Imagine your head Ray Finkled.
Laces out.
On the Batman.
Do you remember just reading about that, Chadwick?
Yeah. Like an actual news article.
Yeah, so like apparently the friend was with him too. So it's like not only did your head get just like fucking punted into next week and somebody's got to go find your dome, but like your boy or girl is like just watched your head just like
you gotta ride next to the fucking headless horseman for the rest of the ride. Like no, dude, that like 2-minute ride had to feel like 87.
No. He was off. He wasn't on the ride. He was at the bottom, and the foot kicked his head because he was in a restricted area.
Oh,
yeah.
You've got to find you got to find the clip of Jack Nicholson in The Departed where he goes,
"Jeez, she felt funny."
Yeah. So that was one. There was another one where the Goliath, I guess, was a ride. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I remember that one.
That wasn't at Six Flags though. That
may have been a different Six Flags.
Goliath it's in Missouri, I believe.
Okay, is that still a Six Flags though, right?
I don't know if it's a Six Flags or not.
So there's a guy that had a heart attack on a ride, which made it a baker's dozen, Bob. So, and then somebody fell off. There was a
there was a version at in the Georgia one because I remember it. Like there was. I just looked it up. The Goliath, in Six Flags over Georgia.
Then another one, I felt like somebody did. They had a free fall ride too, like that would take you up and then just do a little drop or whatever. And somebody lost some fucking feet on that apparently. Like so, these amusement parks are just like fucking funhouse mirror like horror stories.
So I remember going like specifically to ride the Batman because I heard how great it was.
Yeah,
and I stood in line fucking forever, and then I was definitely in the next group, and they closed it for like maintenance. I had to go again. Like they closed it like permanently that day, so I had to fucking drag my ass down there again. Like I don't know if it was later that summer, maybe the next summer. just so I could ride that one fucking ride. And it was all right.
I liked it. It was neat to have your feet dangling for a little bit. It was because then like didn't the Superman happen after that where it was like I never rode that, but it was like
that's what I was gonna say. I never got to ride it either, but I remember someone telling me you kind of get locked in and then it like leans you over.
Right, like you're Superman flying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Like I feel like at that point, like we're just kind of jumping the shark. But I remember with Leaf though at Six Flags, dude, you could go hit every major. There was like 5 or 6 big ones, the roller coasters. We would say we'd go with like a church.
We've got a big one, you know that.
Yeah, we would go with a church group, and they're like, "Yeah, we've ridden like 2 rides, and we're on our 3rd go round of all 6 of them again, like because we just go straight to the front." So like 6 o'clock, like we're like, all right, man, like we're fucking toast. We've ridden all these like 5 times. And
another thing that I never got to do at Six Flags that I wanted to do was when they have the Halloween stuff. Like
yes, I never did either.
They actually have that at Lake Winnipesaukee too. They call it Lake Winnipesaukee, and
they'd even put bed sheets on their horses and ride around.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, Lake Winnipesaukee just not doing anything to help themselves.
That's what I like about the South.
Was that Forrest Gump? Yeah. God. All right.
So for full transparency, I've only been to Six Flags probably 2 or 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
I had to have been 10 times, and some of those were school trips. Some of those were solo trips of friends.
About 10 times.
When you got your car, I remember like me, you, and shout out Robbie, who may never ever watch this podcast. Me, you, Robbie, and your brother would go all the time. Ruby, what the fook? Because he's from Canada, so that's how his sister would talk. Ruby, what the fook? But like we would go there and we would just stay all fucking day.
Did he ever look up your butthole while you farted in his face?
No, he did not. No,
he's the kind of person that would have, but that didn't actually happen.
We already established that he was Canadian, so we know that he would do that.
Chris met him like what was it when y'all were playing tennis?
Yeah,
like,
we were in the same
shout
class
out
together.
Shout out to Robbie. He worked at the theater with us. Shout out to Robbie.
One of the funniest fucking dudes.
Like one of the funniest guys ever of all time, man. I love that man still to this very day. But we did go to Six Flags together. And
we went a lot, listening to punk rock music and shit. And then like, because we're going to just really cover these 2 in this podcast. Because we could go to Disney, but it's like Disney could be like a whole episode, but also like,
you're going to piss everybody off.
Yeah,
right?
everyone's going to be mad.
You sure you don't want to?
The only thing I remember about Disney...
and that's as good a place as any to go ahead in this episode down memory lane. We probably have 55 minutes of usable shit out of this.
Well, we didn't get to talk about a hang gliding off Raccoon Mountain or parasailing in Panama City.
Yeah,
it's over.
It's over.
Another top. Over. We'll do it again.
We'll go ahead and lead it over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
Against the Jets last week, Buffalo Bills running back Thurman Thomas broke O.J. Simpson's career rushing record, and the week before, he surpassed Simpson in career touchdowns. Next up for Thomas, an attempt to kill 3 people at once.